Hello, this tutorial is for the request for prior authorization of services for CIS at the Vermont Department for Children and Families, Child Development Division, Children's Integrated Services. Let's begin. Notice that there are some red outlined fields on this form. Those fields are required. We're going to begin by filling in the provider information at the top. Okay. Next, we're going to choose the provider ID number, which always begins with a 3-digit number. So you click here on the drop-down menu and choose one. And you type in the rest of the number. Okay. Here is our first required field. We're going to select the region, 3-digit name. In this case, it's Hartford. And then we're going to enter the provider discipline, which in this case is OT, for occupational therapy. And we'll fill in the service coordinator name and contact information. All right, and we can tab to the next one, the date of this PA request, which is today. Okay, and we begin now with the child information. Last name, first name, date of birth, social security number. Okay. We can skip the unique ID number in this case since we have the social security number. Current one plan date. Enter there. And then we move over to the next section. And for this child, we're going to say it's a high medical need. The provider is listed on the current one plan, and that plan is attached. And these, of course, are required as it indicates. This is the first time submission for this request. If it was a resubmission, we would click here instead and enter the reason, which might be continued need. Okay, moving on now to requested services in the next section. These are procedure codes or revenue codes. The providers that are using these codes are familiar with what they should be using. We're going to say here. Moving over to the next section, private insurance has denied this coverage. We want to verify that. Private insurance explanation of benefits is attached. We want to indicate that. And then we want to enter the date that we need this PA to start. Okay, and comments, if any. Okay, you notice the next section says for CIS use only, so we're going to leave that blank. Okay, moving down now to the next section, request for additional evaluations. So we can request more than one type of authorization on this form. And we're going to say for this child, the reason for additional evaluations needed within 12 calendar months, late referral to CIS, additional evaluation needed to determine eligibility. Okay. Provider name. Previous evaluation date for this particular specialty. And plan date for requested specialty evaluation. Okay. And again, we're going to leave the CIS section blank. Okay. So if we have a request for additional meeting units, describe how additional meetings will benefit this child and his or her goals. Okay, as an example. Okay, now this section is particularly helpful for us as we authorize and enter the PAs. Frequency per month. For this child, we'll say 2. The requested start date is December 1. Okay. Plan length of each meeting in 30-minute increments. 30 minutes. And once again, we leave the CIS use only section blank. Okay, so request for exceptional mileage, the starting address, and the ending address. Okay, and total round trips in miles. There we go. Frequency of service, again, this information is important for us as we prepare and authorize and enter the PA. So once a week in this case, actual start date. This is the actual start date, 08/02/2016, and the requested start date of the PA. And of course, we leave the CIS use section only blank. So we will do a separate video on how to do a digital signature. There's a place here for notes if you need to enter anything that's not immediately clear on the rest of the form. By signing this form, by submitting this prior authorization request, the agency or provider affirms that the information provided is accurate, current, and compliant with CIS guidance. There's a link here to the CIS guidance. From here, you can save the form to your computer, which we recommend you do. You can print the form, and the instructions for submitting it over here. Ideally, submit by email to this address, and if you click on this, it should open your email, or you can fax it or mail it to this address. Notice on the back of this form that there is some specific guidance for providers on mileage, additional meeting units, request for additional evaluation, additional services. Effective December 2016, all incomplete or inaccurate forms will be returned to the agency for correction and resubmission. This concludes today's tutorial. Thank you very much.